everybody, and welcome back to our channel. My name is Amara.
And my name is Gospel.
I'm so excited to be back here, and I'm sure that everyone listening to me right now will be raring to go and wondering what are we going to be talking about today. If you're new on our channel, I want to bid you a warm welcome. I want you to kindly hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you know when we put content out. And to all our returning subscribers, you know we love you. It's always amazing to have you back here. Today we want to have another conversation.
There are different types of relationships. People have relationships with their friends, with their parents, with their siblings. But we want to look at intimate relationship. Who should be in an intimate relationship? Or if you really want to get into a serious relationship, what are the things you need to bear in mind?
Today we've titled this conversation Starting an Intimate Relationship. And like he said, what are the things that you have to bear in mind in order for you to progress in a relationship? Because some of you must have had like a couple of people like hanging around you, and you're wondering, where are we going in all of this? And do I need to progress to the next level with this individual or not? Now, how do you decipher? The question here is, and I say the first thing for you to do, maybe not the question, but to begin, is to define your relationship.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you find people in a relationship and that relationship isn't quite defined.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's a waste of your time, is a waste of the other person's time if you're in a relationship that is heading nowhere.
Definitely. When we talk about defining relationship, we are looking at it that you don't need to make assumptions. One person might think, oh, there's something going on with us. We are so close. But from the other person's point of view, nothing is going on. You can't just assume because this person is caring, this person calls you on phone, hangs out with you, spends time with you, definitely something is going on. So what you need to do is to have a conversation to say, what is happening here? Where are we going? What's the direction of our relationship? For some people, they might think, yes, you're in a relationship, but they don't have the same direction like you do. For you, it might be that this is a relationship you want for life. You're thinking about marriage. For this person is thinking about, I like you as a person, but I'm not thinking about settling down with you. Maybe I like you because of the company you keep, or because there are benefits I get from being with you.
Absolutely.
So you need to know what's going on. Don't start a relationship and allow things to happen by default, thinking, well, let's see where it gets us.
Absolutely.
Because if that happens, you're wasting your time. It means if the person decides to walk away, there is no commitment there, and you can't hold the person accountable or responsible for breaking your heart.
Yeah. I want to say that you've just made a very good point, because sometimes people are in a relationship of convenience or like you said, in a relationship where there are benefits, right? And you just kind of coasting. This kind of brings me to my second point, to be honest. Like, you have to be intentional.
Yes.
Like, what are we doing here? Like, there has to be a no coasting policy. Like, look, we're not here just to coast. What is this really? What are we doing? It is really important that you define it, where you're just going on autopilot, basically. Like, some people would say in Nigerian slang, let's be going and let's see how it evolves as we get there. No, there has to be a plan. You have to be intentional. So you need to be very deliberate about what you are or what you both are doing in that relationship. And I think it's very important because there is we emphasize intentionality because a lot of times when things break down in a relationship, it speaks to the fact that there is always an absence in mind, and people are not quite conscious or present in making certain decisions on how they push or channel that relationship in the right direction.
Definitely. And being intentional is not just about not allowing the relationship to coast. When we say coasting, we're referring to the fact that the things you need to do to make this relationship work, you're not doing them.
Yeah.
You just let's flow, let's enjoy it as it is. You're not being deliberate in taking positive actions that will build the relationship. Relationship, like we used to say, is like a farm. If you don't tend your crops, you are going to have weeds around your farm. And if you don't even nurture those plants, they're not going to grow and become healthy. They're not going to be fruitful as it is. So it's your responsibility to make your relationship work. It doesn't happen by chance.
It doesn't. It takes a lot of investment. So when you're in a relationship, there has to be a lot of things that needs to be decided. What are we doing here? How do we need to advance our relationship at a point where it is not, I don't want to use the word beneficial, but where we both are taking value out of that relationship. And I think it's really important.
Yeah.
Now, in order for us to get to that point, I think what is really crucial is communication. Because like we say, and this is like an expression that people put out there, communication is the lifeblood of any relationship. Like if you do not communicate, your relationship is going to die. Literally, it's going to die. And it is important that, in terms of being intentional, you're talking about the things that you need to be intentional about. If it's intentional about character building, what exactly, and you can only have those conversations, you can only communicate those things in order to know what's the direction of travel, right? I cannot know what is on Gospel's mind, and Gospel will never know what's on my mind if I'm not able to verbalize it, communicate that effectively. It is really, really important because you need to know where we're going, and in order for you to know where you're going, you need to be having these conversations. Sometimes I find it quite awkward and surprising that individuals in a relationship hardly talk. They don't even enjoy each other's company. And that speaks to some red flags, because you cannot be in a relationship with someone that you're not comfortable with gisting and talking with and communicating with. You get bored easily. In fact, when you need to communicate with this person, it feels like a chore. That's questionable. And I think that communication is critical for any relationship.
Definitely. I agree with you on that. And talking about communication, you should also think about it from the point of having, charting a course in terms of what are your values, what are the things you like. Can we move this relationship to another level?
Yeah.
Are we honest with each other? Are we open? You have to be open. You have to, be yourself, be able to share, because building intimacy is about sharing.
Absolutely.
If I don't see what is going on in your life, if I don't know your dreams, your aspirations, if I don't know the fears you have, the challenges you have as an individual, it's going to be difficult for me to be intimately connected with you. So if you're thinking about building a lifetime relationship, you definitely need to be open. You need to be honest with each other, because if you're not honest, then there is another issue that is going to come up, and that's the issue of trust.
Okay.
You can't build intimate relationship without trust. If you're not open, if you don't communicate, then I may have issues around trust, because I need to know who you are to be able to trust you.
Yeah. It's surprising, how many people are in a relationship and they don't know who the other person is. And surprisingly, a lot of them have been there for years, and they say they are dating. The question is, do you know this person that you're dating? Do you know their value system? Do you know their attitude towards money? Do you know their attitude towards time management?
Do you know how they manage anger or emotional issues?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
So there is quite a lot that needs to be unpacked. And it is important that if you're in a relationship with someone, communicating would help to, unearth some of these things. And then you're able to see that person for who they truly are.
Let me also say that beyond communication, having an open conversation where you build trust and all that. So beyond communication, building trust, being open with each other and all of those, you need to set boundaries. Very important, because if you don't set boundaries, someone may break your values without even knowing.
That's true.
You can't even be spiritually compatible with someone if you don't understand their boundaries, their values. And when you talk about values, then you will be able to set boundaries. And because remember, you're not married. And for us, we believe, or we know that if you're not married to someone, you shouldn't do certain things. There are privileges that are exclusive to married people.
Absolutely.
Which, if you're single, you're not supposed to engage in. And those are the things you need to build boundaries around.
Yeah.
For instance, someone may say, I don't believe or I don't want to engage in sexual relationship activities around sex before marriage. If you don't speak out on these issues and set boundaries around that, it could be a point of conflict.
Absolutely. I think that in a relationship, it is important that your boundaries are respected. So if you're in a relationship with someone who feels like you gave an instance, having a certain level of sexual relationship before marriage is unacceptable, and that person feels that, no, I have to push this boundary a bit, maybe at that instance is a red flag. So you need to check, what is this person's attitude towards communication? How do they communicate when they are upset, for example? Because it's really important. Because some people might say, this is how I behave when I'm angry, and it's okay because people around me for years didn't see any problem with that. Okay. But you might never know those things. So it is really important that boundaries are set and respected.
Adding to that, we are looking at boundaries around how you manage emotions. That's what she was just trying to say. So you need to understand and communicate those boundaries.
Yeah.
When you're angry, you don't shout at me. When you're angry, you don't hit, you're not physical because your emotion is running wild and all that. Yeah. So that is a boundary.
There's another one. When you're angry, you don't stonewall.
Exactly.
Because some people just ignore the person, like seriously, like silent treatment. You don't even see through them. You have to respect the other person to be able to communicate. Look, I don't feel okay. I'm not happy with the way things are. And then you explain your attitude or you explain your emotions to them so that you can carry them along.
Definitely.
And you don't want to put it all on the person. They should understand. No, I don't understand because I don't have to deal with my emotions the way you deal with your emotions. So it is really important that that is communicated as well.
Because setting boundaries will actually help you to understand if this person is compatible with you or not, to know if you guys agree on certain things. So you have to state your do's and your don'ts and agree to those do's and don'ts. Okay? Because it helps you, even in marriage, to respect your spouse's values, views, perspectives, and all that.
I know the word compatibility because some people might be listening to us now and say, oh, no one can be compatible with the other person. Now, when we talk about compatibility, we're not saying that you will be exactly the same with the person that you're in a relationship with or the person you're married to, right? If you're married. The thing here is that compatibility speaks to harmony, right? And when we're looking at harmony, like let's take music, for example, right? There are different instruments that come together to make different sound. And, at the end of the day, it's like harmonious sound. Like by itself, it doesn't play right. But in tandem with other instruments, it plays right. And that's what in your relationship, that's what it should be. It's like finding your rhythm, right? You get to the point where you really fine-tune things to the point where you guys have a rhythm. You have a way of dealing with issues. You have a system that works. And your system might be very different from somebody else. So that's when we talk about compatibility, that's what we mean. We're not saying that it's sameness. It's not sameness, but it's about you working together in harmony based on your value system, your principles, and the belief that you share.
I agree with you because the Bible said in Amos 3:3, can two work together except they agree?
Yeah.
So agreement is about compatibility, having the same perspective to certain issues, especially core issues of life. And for you to have a wonderful relationship, you must also have a point of compromise. Compromise from a positive standpoint. It doesn't mean you have to compromise your values, your dignity as an individual. No, don't compromise those. We are looking at compromise such that you are flexible to accommodate this person's shortfalls and work together to improve. So don't say, oh, I can't deal with you on this, or except those things are things that are character issues that can violate your values as an individual, or character issues that could impact on your life. For instance, if someone has issues with addiction, certain addictions, it's a red flag. If someone has issue with honesty, the person tells you, I make £1,000, and you check it's just £100, and you see a pattern there, that pattern shows you something is wrong with this person.
Yeah.
Until the person deals with those kind of character issues, you don't have to build an intimate relationship with this person. But when you're sure that those key elements are there, and it's just an issue of maybe personal development issues, maybe I don't like the way this guy talks, sounds, all those kind of stuff. So you have to be open and flexible to help this person improve.
Yeah, absolutely. We talk about these things. I can remember like countless times when we sit and we talk to people who are intending to go into a relationship about the importance of, having these sort of conversations around flexibility. And you would not, imagine how sometimes it's trivialized. The fact that someone feels like anger is not a big deal. You can deal with it. You can help that person to change. There are certain issues that needs to be addressed before you take the next step. And if you're in doubt, pause. If you're in doubt, whatever it is, pause and try to give it time. Try to speak to someone trusted. Try to speak to counselors, people like us, people that you trust. Reach out to people just to double check. It is really important before you make that step, because a lot of times in marriages, some of these things that you find people stuck in were neglected before. And when you ask them, did you see signs of this before? They would always say, yes, we saw signs of it, but we didn't know it was this bad. And the question here, I always say that, yes, you didn't know it was this bad because at the time the person was trying to woo you over, or you were trying to make an impression, and then you missed it in the whole I'm in love or the whole butterfly in your tummies. And so you really need to come to the point where you settle. You really need to come to a point where you sit on that decision. Marriage, or the decision to get married, is not something to trivialize. It is a very important decision in anybody's life. It is something that decides how you move forward in life. When the Bible talks about one shall chase 1,000 and two shall chase 10,000, it is critical. Is that critical? So you really need to know who you are coming into alignment with. And it's not a decision to be taken lightly. It is something that you really need to take time to process.
Definitely. So you have to think about how flexible are you to improve each other, and how flexible is the other person. So if the person is stuck in his ways or her ways, and you know that those changes are not going to happen even when the person gets married, the person is not open to change even before marriage or before you become intimate, I would say to you, see that as a red flag. What we are saying is that you have to ensure that the person you're getting into an intimate relationship with is someone who is flexible. And you too need to be flexible to, improve yourself, flexible to develop yourself, those skills that are required to build intimate relationship. Even when you're going into marriage, those skills that are required to make your relationship work, you need to, be open to work on them and don't be stuck in your ways. So, but if the person is saying, this is who I am, I'm not going to change, I am good the way I am, you can't ask me to improve, take me the way I am. Yes, we can take you the way you are, but we don't want to keep you the way you are. We want you to improve the way you are, because life is about constant improvement, constant development. But if you're not ready to go on that journey, you might get to a point where you've grown wide apart. Because in marriage, you're not just coming to receive, you're coming to give. Marriage is more about what you're going to give, the deposits you're going to make in someone's life. And if you expect someone to give, you should also be open to give, because it's about giving. And when you give, you receive. But if you're just receiving and receiving and receiving, the other person is going to run dry. And I will tell you, it takes two to tango. If two of you are not giving mutually, it becomes frustrating to the one who is always giving. That's what it is. So for you to build an intimate relationship that would blossom into a lifetime of love and, blissful marriage, I would say to you, look at those key things you can do to be the best version of you. Because when you're the best version of you, You're bringing the best.
Yeah, you're bringing the best into
Best
the
into the
relationship.
relationship.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know we've said so many things, and I wish we could speak some more. But you might be listening to us right now and you feel that, oh, this is a very important point. If there are points that we've made and you feel that you would need to expand a bit more, just let us know on the chat. Or maybe there's something that you possibly felt, they should have touched on this point. We'd also love to hear that. And if you think that this would be of value to some of your friends or family members or people within your circle, please feel free to circulate this video, share this video, like this video, and just leave us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, just show us some love. It is really important. And in case you started watching and you forgot to subscribe and you're new here, do not forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. And to all our returning subscribers, it's always a joy to have you. Now, until the next episode, it's goodbye from us.